Hello friends, don't forget to subscribe to my channel TKD Health Tips if you haven't done so. So today we are going to talk about how Einstein Sentiment Model in Social Studio can be tuned. So one of our colleagues today has found an was finding an issue like why the Einstein sentiment seems not precise. So if you see here, like what he is saying, like he is passing a message parameter and hitting the endpoint, and to get the sentiment of the statement passed. But sometimes it seemed that it was not precise, like the Einstein state sentiment was not precise, like because sometimes even for a straightforward message or parameter, the results were not so much precise. For example, overall great experience, the rating is positive, 95%. But when he entered it's too bad, the rating is negative 48% and positive 45%. So he was not sure like how is this working, and he asked like whether there are any negative statements or words which are entered and which gets calculated. So he asked for a solution. So here is my solution which I give to him. So basically the results from the supplied Einstein sentiment model the link has given to here was like will be only good as long as the input data that Salesforce is used to create it. For example, if your text varies significantly from the training data you provided to the sentiment model, then then it is unlikely to get the expected result. So basically, you can't refine this model with much more fresh data. So basically, you can create a new language data set with the type like text sentiment, and then and then you are free to train it. So, for example, the Einstein sentiment analysis says that basically it is based. I mean, that but basically it was trained on data aggregated from multiple sources. So basically, mostly short snippets of text and comparable to what you might find in the public forum. So what they mean is basically the community sentiment model. So it's something which has been pre-created for this task, and they have collected like many examples of text, like thousands and hundreds of thousands of millions of text, and then they have manually categorized them as either being positive, negative, or neutral. So then what they did is they used this input data to build the model such that when text like the training data came in, a similar response came out from the model. So this is basically known as the supervised learning. Now those probabilities are telling you how similar the input text is to the categories that were applied to the training text. Now, it's probably easier to understand this process with something like Einstein Vision API. So so basically there's a trailhead which I highly recommend to go through. So I just use that example here. And basically this trailhead is an image based rather than a text based, but the underlying principle is the same. So what you do, you train a model on some input data, the data set, and then you use that model to make predictions. So the closer the input is to the training data, the better the results you will get it. So conversely, when you put something into the model that it hasn't been trained on, then you are that it is highly likely that you will get a poor result. Now, the challenge with the Einstein sentiment analysis is that you won't get to modify the model with further training data. It is like a fixed thing provided by the Salesforce. This is great in that you don't need to build up a massive training data set, but of course it does limit your ability to refine it with actual examples from your specific data. So I have used some slides from the Mad Hatter talk that might be hopeful. Uh, Hopefully it will be clarify the things better. Basically, you will start with some labels. So you start with some labels in a sentiment analysis case that is positive, negative, and neutral. You then collect many example inputs and manually apply the labels to them. Okay, now you apply once you apply the labels, now you feed those labels and examples into your AI structured learning tool to produce a model. Now, once the model is created, basically the model is a machine learning construct used to solve a classification problem. Now the model only knows about the labels you trained on it. Feed it anything else and it will not know what to make of it. Okay. Now if you see here, there are various labels of John Connor, Sarah Connor, boats, motorcycles. So often internally these models are made up of a number of layers that are connected by weighted edges. The strength of those edges is altered by the training process. So the model produces results as close as possible to the examples. If you see here, there's input layer, there's output layer, and there are hidden layers 1, 2, and 3 in between. Okay, and there are like commonalities and differences between the various. There are commonalities and differences between the various labels and generalizes the characteristics that define each label. When you do give that model a new input, it's the process through those layers and edges that produces the probabilities. Given if something similar to the training data, and you will get a high probability for the corresponding level. As an aside, it appears that the sentiment model in Social Studio can be tuned. I have given a link here, so it might help you. And thank you, friends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.